silence, stillness. A man sits at the foot of a mountain, but this mountain is not made of rock and soil. It is made of doubt, distraction, fear, and longing. For many years, I watched people speak of clarity, of peace, of self-mastery. They passed ideas from one mouth to another, like echoes in a cave. But echoes do not show the path. They only remind you that you are not there yet. I am Shi Heng Yi, and today I will guide you into one of the most important lessons I have ever learned, not in theory, not from a book, but through pain, through sweat, and through stillness. In Shaolin we say, you must climb your own mountain, not someone else's, not the one your teacher shows you, your own. Because only at the top of your own mountain does the fog clear, only there do you see, not just the world but yourself. In this video, you will learn the 5 hidden hindrances that block your path to self-mastery. They do not shout, they whisper, they dress themselves as comfort, logic, even love. That's why most people never see them until it's too late. But if you stay with me until the end, I will show you not just how to recognize them, but how to move through them with discipline and grace. This is not about becoming perfect, it is about becoming real. You are here because something within you is ready to climb, ready to shed illusions. Welcome to Shaolin Soulfire. Subscribe now and walk this path with us. Not everything that feels good leads to growth, and not everything that looks beautiful brings peace. The senses, sight, sound, taste, touch, and smell, are powerful gates. They connect us to the world, but they can also chain us to it. In Shaolin practice, we learn to sharpen our senses, but not to be ruled by them. When you are ruled by what you see, you chase images. When you are ruled by what you hear, you are pulled by voices. When you are ruled by taste and touch, you begin to live only for comfort. That is not freedom. That is a cage made of silk. Pleasure is not the enemy. The danger begins when the mind cannot stop chasing it. You see a beautiful object or person, a delicious meal, a comforting sound, and the mind says, more. The breath becomes shallow. The awareness narrows. You are no longer present. You are hunting a moment that does not last. This is how obsession is born. In the Shaolin Temple, even the simplest acts, drinking tea, walking, breathing, are done with awareness, not to escape life, but to enter it fully. That is why we say, do not deny the senses, but do not bow to them either. You can enjoy beauty without clinging. You can feel joy without craving its return. This is where discipline begins, not in force but in freedom from compulsion. To stop the mind from chasing pleasure is to return it to stillness. And in that stillness, you begin to see clearly what is real, what is illusion, and what was simply a passing cloud in the sky of your mind. The journey to mastery is not always lit by sunlight. There will be days when the sky turns gray, the path becomes muddy, and each step feels heavier than the last. In those moments, the untrained mind begins to resist. It asks, why is this happening? Why now? Why me? But resistance only deepens the pain. It makes the rain feel colder, the road seem longer. To walk the true path, one must learn to embrace the rain. Discomfort is not a punishment. It is part of the climb. It is a teacher dressed in rough clothes. And often, it is the first sign that you are growing. Ancient disciplines teach us that strength is not built in comfort. It is shaped in friction. The mountain does not move for you. The wind does not stop because you are tired. And the rain does not apologize for falling. But you can change how you move through it. When you stop expecting the path to be smooth, each obstacle becomes part of the rhythm. Pain becomes a message. Fatigue becomes a signal. Resistance becomes a mirror. You start to see not just what is outside, but what still needs healing inside. And strangely, something beautiful begins to happen. You stop wishing for different weather. You stop waiting for ideal conditions. You keep walking, even in the storm. This is inner mastery, not the absence of struggle, but the refusal to be broken by it. So when the rain comes, and it always will, welcome it. Let it wash away your expectations. Let it test your discipline. Let it show you the strength you didn't know you had. The one who climbs in the rain walks with deeper roots. There are prisons with walls and bars, and then there are prisons built in the mind. The feeling of heaviness, of not wanting to move, not wanting to begin, it creeps in quietly. Days blur, energy fades, the mind grows dull, like a blade left unused. This is not laziness, it is stagnation, and it is a form of suffering. In ancient teachings, this is known as torpor, A fog that clouds both body and spirit. It tells you to wait, to rest a little longer, to try tomorrow. But tomorrow never comes when the fire within has gone cold. The way out is not force, it is movement. Not a great leap, but a small step. Even one breath taken with intention begins to clear the fog. Even one mindful action repeated begins to reshape the mind. This is the power of consistency, of becoming just 1% better each day. Not in speed or strength, but in presence, in effort, in awareness. Over time, this quiet discipline becomes momentum, and momentum becomes freedom. The mistake many make is waiting for motivation. But in the ancient way, we act first, and the feeling follows. Just as the body warms after the first movement, the spirit awakens after the first act of will. A heavy body is not a curse, it is a signal. A dull mind is not failure, it is a moment to begin again. The one who masters this understands a deeper truth. Self-mastery is not a peak to reach, but a rhythm to return to every single day. With each step, the prison weakens. And one morning, without even realizing when it happened, you look up and the walls are gone. The mind, left untamed, behaves like a restless monkey, jumping from thought to thought, past to future, craving to worry. It chatters endlessly, even in silence, especially in silence. This inner noise is subtle, but powerful. It pulls your attention away from the moment. It scatters your focus, weakens your presence. You may sit still on the outside, yet inside, you are being pulled in 100 directions. To master the self, one must learn to quiet this monkey mind. Not by force, but by guidance. Not by suppression, but by redirection. The breath is the first key. It is always with you, and it always brings you back. Deep, slow breaths calm the nervous system. They signal to the body that there is no danger, no rush, no need to run. Focus is the second key. Not on many things, but on one. A movement, a word, a point in the body. When the mind is given a clear task, it begins to slow. Attention sharpens, clarity returns. Simple movement is the third key. This is where ancient practices like Shaolin Qigong become more than exercise. They are a meditation in motion. Each gesture is deliberate. Each shift of weight, each flow of the arm becomes a language spoken without words. This is living stillness, where motion brings calm, and calm reveals truth. In time, the monkey grows quiet. It sits, watches, listens. The thoughts may still come, but they no longer lead. The noise fades into the background, and what remains is a grounded presence, calm, steady, aware. This is the state where inner mastery begins to grow. Not in controlling the mind by force, but in giving it a place to rest, a rhythm to follow, and a purpose beyond distraction. The path is often unclear. At times it winds through mist. At other times it disappears entirely beneath your feet. In those moments, doubt arises. Not loud, but persistent. A quiet voice that asks, is this the right way? Am I ready? Should I turn back? Doubt is not weakness. It is a natural part of the journey. But when you feed it, it grows strong. And when it grows strong, it freezes action. You stand still, even when the heart longs to move. The ancient way teaches a different approach. Not to wait for certainty, but to cultivate conviction. Conviction is not blind belief. It is the alignment of heart, mind, and will. The heart knows what is right. The mind understands why it matters. The will carries it forward, step by step, with discipline. Even in uncertainty, you can act. Even without knowing the full path, you can begin. This is the essence of inner mastery. To walk with trust even when there are no signs. To plant your foot firmly on shifting ground. To keep moving, not because the way is easy, but because your direction is true. This kind of trust is built through experience. It is shaped by falling, rising, and continuing. Each time you face doubt and act anyway, you strengthen your core. You carve a deeper channel of courage within yourself. You do not need to see the mountain to start climbing. You only need to take the next step with awareness, with sincerity. Trusting the path does not mean the path will be smooth. It means you no longer wait for conditions to be perfect. You walk because it is time. You walk because something inside you says go. When the mind becomes clouded by restlessness, craving, doubt, or fear, it is easy to feel lost. In those moments, awareness becomes scattered and old patterns take control. But ancient wisdom offers a quiet method to return home to yourself. A method as soft as rain, yet powerful enough to break the deepest patterns. It is called RAIN. First, recognize. See what is present in this moment. Is there tension in the chest, a craving in the mind, a heaviness in the body? Recognition is the first light in the dark. Without it, you move blindly. Second, accept. Do not resist what you find. Do not judge it, fight it, or push it away. Simply say, yes, this is here. Acceptance is not surrender. It is clarity. What you accept, you can understand. What you deny controls you. Third, investigate. Gently, with curiosity. Where did this feeling come from? What is it trying to protect? What story is the mind telling? Investigation is not analysis. It is exploration. You look without fear. You listen without rushing to fix. Last, non-identify. You are not the storm. You are the sky it moves through. You are not your thoughts, not your emotions, not even your sensations. These are guests that come and go. When you stop identifying with them, they lose their grip. This is the inner toolkit. It does not promise to remove all hindrances, but it teaches you how to meet them with grace. Each time you practice RAIN, you step out of reaction and into awareness. You train the mind to stay calm in the face of discomfort. You return to stillness, not by force, but by wisdom. And in that stillness, you remember who you are, beyond thought, beyond mood, beyond fear. Feelings rise and fall like waves on the ocean. Some are warm, some are sharp, some pass quickly while others linger. But no matter how strong, all feelings share one truth: they change. In ancient practice, this truth is observed through mindfulness of feelings. It is a way of meeting each sensation as it is, without chasing or resisting. When something pleasant appears, the mind often clings. It says, hold on to this, don't let it go. When something unpleasant arises, the mind pushes away. It says, make this stop, escape. But both reactions create tension. Both lead to suffering. Instead, we train to become the neutral witness. This is not cold detachment. It is warm clarity. It means allowing the feeling to be there without being pulled into it. You observe the joy without grasping. You observe the discomfort without fear. In doing so, you begin to see this feeling is not you. It is a visitor. This practice is rooted in Satipatthana, the foundations of mindfulness. One of these foundations is Vedana, the awareness of feeling tone pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. It is not about the story, just the raw sensation. You might feel tension in the stomach, a rush in the chest, a dullness behind the eyes. You label it gently, not to control it, but to stay present. This is tightness, this is heat, this is heaviness. And then you watch without interference. As the sensation shifts, softens, or fades, with time, this discipline becomes a source of great strength. You are no longer swept away by every mood. You no longer mistake passing emotion for permanent truth. You become like the sky, vast, still, untouched, while the clouds of feeling drift by as they always do. True discipline is not a clenched fist. It is not harshness toward the self. It is quiet alignment, body, mind, and spirit moving in the same direction. In the Shaolin way, balance is the foundation. Without it, strength becomes tension. Without it, willpower turns into force. But with balance, even the most difficult part becomes steady. Discipline is often misunderstood. Many think it means pushing harder, doing more, denying rest. But this is not the ancient path. Discipline is not suppression. It is awareness guided by purpose. In martial arts, every movement teaches this. If you strike without control, you lose form. If you hold back too much, you lose power. True mastery lies in the middle, in knowing when to act and when to be still, when to push and when to release. This balance must also live in your daily practice. Structure gives you strength, but too much structure can harden the heart. That is why compassion is needed, not as an escape, but as a counterweight. To listen when the body is tired, to care for the mind when it becomes restless. Patience is the third strand. Without it, progress becomes pressure. Growth takes time. The seed does not rush to become a tree, nor should you rush your own unfolding. To walk the Shaolin way is to hold both firmness and softness, to move with intention but without force, to keep returning to the center where focus and kindness meet. When balance is present, energy flows. The practice becomes not a burden but a rhythm, a conversation between effort and ease. And slowly, harmony grows, not only in your actions, but in your thoughts, in your breath, and in your presence. This is the quiet strength that endures. Not every thought you think is truly yours. Not every emotion that rises belongs to this moment. Many of the patterns that shape us were formed long before we could choose. They come from family, from culture, from the weight of generations, carried silently, passed down through words, gestures, and unspoken fears. In the path of self-mastery, these hidden roots must be uncovered. This is the work of self-inquiry, not to judge, but to understand, not to blame, but to become free. In Shaolin tradition, this process is like conscious excavation. You sit in stillness, not to escape, but to listen deeply. When anger rises, you ask, where does this come from? When fear appears, you do not push it away. You observe, you trace it back. Perhaps the fear began with your parents. Perhaps the silence you carry was once survival. Perhaps the belief that you are not enough was planted long ago, in a place that had nothing to do with who you truly are. To inquire is to peel back these layers, slowly, patiently, with courage and care. This is not the same as overthinking. It is not getting lost in the mind. It is using awareness as a light to see clearly what has shaped you and what no longer serves you. Each time you bring unconscious patterns into awareness, you take a step closer to your authentic self, not the one shaped by expectation, but the one shaped by truth. And in that clarity, something shifts. You begin to respond instead of react. You choose with intention rather than follow inherited momentum. This is the deeper discipline, not just in what you do, but in how deeply you know who is doing it. When the echoes of the past are heard and understood, they no longer control the future. The path to self-mastery does not begin in the world around you, it begins within. Desire, resistance, dullness, restlessness, and doubt. These are not flaws to erase, but teachers to understand. Each one holds a lesson. Each one points you inward, toward awareness, toward balance, toward truth. Through mindful breath, steady movement, and honest self-inquiry, you begin to see clearly. You begin to act not from reaction, but from alignment. This is the quiet power of Shaolin wisdom, not control through force, but transformation through presence. Let this teaching guide you, not just in still moments, but in daily life. When tension rises, pause. When doubt appears, breathe. When the mind wanders, gently return. Each time you do, you take another step up the mountain of the self. There is no rush, no need to be perfect. Just keep walking, with awareness, with compassion, with courage. Thank you for walking this path with us. If this message has touched something within you, we invite you to like this video and subscribe to Shaolin Soulfire. Your journey is your own, but you are not alone. Until next time, stay grounded, stay present, and let the clarity you seek rise from within.